So I'm going to give you a little bit of a sneak peek and a little tour through the app. We're actually releasing the beta version a little bit earlier than we had anticipated because we thought it was a really good time to get it out there and get it to as many caregivers as possible who could start using it for home language practice now. And so it's available on our website for SLPs and caregivers starting today, and I'll tell you how to sign up for it in just a little bit. So let's look through the video here. So we're going to take you through the caregiver version so that you know what it's going to look like for families. But when you sign up as an SLP, you'd have a few different features that caregivers don't see, like access to content at all of the levels. So the app is customizable to 4 different developmental levels, and we really wanted to focus on development rather than age. So caregivers start out by answering questions to place their child in pre-verbal, first words, word combiner, or full sentences. So for this demo, I'm going to pretend that we have a child that says a few words. So does my child say a word? Yes. Does my child combine 2 or more words? Not yet. And then here are some traits that we'd expect of first word users. Then we can click on Let's Go First Word User and agree to that level. And once they finish setting up their account and going through some intro videos, they're going to find themselves on their journey page. So the journey is the home page of the app, and we know there's so much information out there. We really wanted to set up an organized, guided experience for caregivers. So from here, caregivers navigate through different sets of activities. The sets are each based around common early language techniques, a lot of the ones you've heard about today. The first 3 here are face-to-face, exaggerate, and pausing. And then each set has 5 activities within it. And they're designed to promote that repetition of the technique in different contexts. So we all know how important repetition is to learning, not just for children, but also for adults. Through repetition, we hope to make caregivers more confident in using the techniques that you may have already shown them in speech therapy, but when their therapist isn't around. So as we scroll down here and progress along the journey, you'll see more techniques. And you'll also notice that each set is in one common routine to make it easier to incorporate. So we have playtime, mealtime, bath time, and bedtime, and then some seasonal specials like that Get Messy summer set, because I know how much we all love seasonal materials. So let's check out one of the sets together. We can click into face-to-face there. And the first thing they'll see is a video explaining the technique. Let's watch it together.
This is your first speech set, a group of 5 activities meant to get your child talking. This set teaches you how to get face-to-face with your child. Try these activities at playtime. So why get face-to-face? When your child is able to watch your mouth movements and facial expressions, they can learn to imitate you more easily. You and your child have more opportunities for back and forth verbal and nonverbal communication, which improves your interactions. Plus, it gives your child a chance to practice making eye contact and sharing attention on the same object. These skills are important for learning words and for social communication.
So once they've watched the intro video, then the user can choose between 5 different activities in the set. So they'll go to the set there, and then we can click over there on number 2, Tube Tunes, and check that one out. So now we're going to be on the activity page, and caregivers can then read or listen to the activity, which tells them what to do and then gives them some specific suggestions for what they can say to their child during that activity. So this one's using toilet paper tubes to practice different kinds of fun sounds with the child. And each activity has a few different parts. So after the activity itself, then they keep scrolling down to learning time. And this is where we talk about why we're recommending the specific activity and what areas of speech and language we're working on with it. So caregivers can read more details about that in here and answer some questions. And then we also go through some possible questions that might come up for the caregiver during the activity and ways they can respond to their child. So here we have some suggestions for the caregiver if the child doesn't repeat any sounds when they first try the activity. So once they've gone through all of that information, then they can click I read it, and they collect their frequent talker points, which they get for each activity they read. And then the app prompts them to do the most important part, go try it out with the child. So each time they level up, then they're going to have access to a new learning lab, which is their short articles on important speech and language topics that we think might be interesting for caregivers. So we'll go into learning labs there, and we can click on Does Baby Talk Help? And then they can read through that information. This one's teaching about child-directed speech. And at the end of each page, there's a little quiz question to see if they were paying attention. So which is a feature of parentese? Speaking slowly and exaggerating. And they get their points there for that. And then the caregiver can keep flipping through the pages to complete that learning lab. And then this one goes on to talk about recasting complete sentences instead of repeating a child's baby talk. So that is our SpeakEasy app in a nutshell. Our goal is that families would be able to go through one activity per day, ideally. We want to make it manageable, but regular enough to still make a difference in between speech therapy sessions. We really hope it's useful for you and for some of the families that you work with.